welcome to the Introvert's Guide to the College Rollercoaster Ride. I'm your host, Olivia Gilmore, a senior at Berry College, and each Wednesday I'll be reflecting on one crazy, insane story from my time in college, or sometimes before, that I may have never mentioned, and you'll get to see why my class voted me as the one with the best crazy stories to tell. We might get a little scientific, a little philosophical, or a little introspective, and by the end, I guarantee you'll be thinking I might just have the worst luck ever. But I promise I'm just fine and along for the ride. So sit back, relax and chill, maybe grab a bag of popcorn, and get ready to laugh and cry right along with me. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope your life won't ever be as crazy as mine. Enjoy! Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to round 2 of the Introvert's Guide to the College Rollercoaster Ride. I am so glad that you're here with me today. And oh my gosh, I'm officially a senior in college. That is completely crazy. I had my first day yesterday, time of filming this. So I don't even know. Like, there's so many similarities between my first day of college and my last first day of college. The main one being, I don't have my roommate with me here anymore, which is so weird. Hazel is gone and it's finally hitting me, and it's fine. But, you know, I didn't know her that well my freshman year either, so it's, like, kind of similar in the fact of, like, oh, I don't have her to, like, go on drives or rants or whatever, so that's a little weird, but, you know what, it'll be fine. And the other crazy thing is that some guy almost hit me in the parking lot this morning walking into class, so, you know, it's gonna be a great year. The one good thing about this year, though, that I'm looking forward to, besides having my own apartment and my dog, I am joined by my dog, Spencer, and I got a fish. His name is Onyx. So, you know, me and my boys. But besides the apartment, I would say the one good thing about this year is that I'm finally taking animal science classes again, because it has been over a year since I've actually taken a class related to my major, because there's just so many prereqs for vet school that, like, I had to get all of those done, and it was just so exhausting taking these upper level chemistry and physics classes instead of what I really want to study, which is animals. So anyway, we've survived the long haul, and I just forgot, like, I was sitting in my companion animal science lab yesterday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to actually do things related to what I want to do for my career later on. So I'm really excited for that, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun this semester. I do, you know, have 3 exams in a row in about a month and 4 finals, but that's not a problem for me right now. That's a problem for me down the line. So anyway, I thought that I would go back and kind of tell you all what my first day of college was like, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit about my first weekend in college, because that was kind of crazy. Not as so much for me as it was for Hazel, but I think it's still a funny story, so I'm going to tell you all. And then I think I'll finish off with a few little mini stories that from all over my life. We have a couple from high school, a couple from college. I think the highlights from those that I'll talk about are the first time I dyed my hair when I was 13, because that was a big story. Why and how I ended up setting my oven on fire last year. That was fun. And let's see what else. Oh, yeah, how I ended up making my own mermaid tail at one point when I was, I think, 10 or 11. Because I was obsessed with that H2O show. And what else should we talk about? Oh yeah, let's just dive into more cringe. The first time I made Musical.lys, because they weren't your average 13-year-old cringe, though they were, like, really, like, actually bad. And then taking my dog Skip tubing on the lake, because that was so much fun. I did that, gosh, 4 years ago now. But my family, we were members of this boat club on Lake Lanier. And so basically every weekend you could go, or even during the week you could go and get boats whenever you want and just go boating. Basically like owning your own boat, but you don't have to worry about the maintenance and upkeep. So it's pretty nice. And then, of course, my whole family, all of us kids are out of the house now, so my parents stopped doing it, and it's really sad. Anyway, so back to, August 23rd, 2021. I don't even know. Like, that day feels like yesterday and 5 years ago at the same time. It's crazy how fast college has gone. And people told me that it would go by fast, but it has really just genuinely flown by. I mean, I never would have thought back then that here I would be 3 years later and that's Spencer. I don't know if the mic's picking him up, but he loves barking at the flies in the room. Anyway, I never would have thought that I would be here already, like in my own apartment with my dog and filming this for you. Anyway, so it's just crazy. Who knows what's going to happen 3 years from now, you know? But anyway, on that day, I was just so nervous because I think part of it was because of COVID. Like, I hadn't had an actual school experience in over probably, gosh, like a year and a half. And I hadn't actually technically been in school for 8 months because I graduated a semester early from high school. So I think just that of like, oh, I'm not used to being in an academically challenging environment. I don't know how I'm going to handle this. You know, everyone says college is so hard. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I remember I literally walked almost 2 miles before class even started that morning just to walk off my nerves. And then there's kind of like the way it's set up. If you're unfamiliar with Barry, so our animal science building, there's 2 entrances. And I didn't know this at the time, but I ended up going through the side entrance. And I'm just sitting there in these chairs because there's kind of like this, it's a big classroom for Barry, which holds about 60 people. And I know you're thinking like most college auditoriums or lecture halls hold like 400 people. Barry is so small. It's like literally a high school. And so, yeah, like our biggest classrooms hold 60 people. And anyway, I'm sitting in these chairs, getting ready, like waiting for the professor to come down and open up the door to the classroom. And I was kind of wondering, like, oh, where's everyone else? Well, they, of course, were by the main entrance. And I was the only one at the side entrance of this little room. And the professor walks down and he looks at me. He's like, oh, yeah, good morning and everything. And I'm like, probably had like some scared look on my face because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like real college professor. He's probably so mean. But the guy ended up actually being really nice. And he's like, yeah, come on in. What are you doing? Stop panicking out in the middle of the hallway. And anyway, he is now a department chair at a college in California. So he ended up leaving Barry, but he'd been there, gosh, for like 40 years. So crazy. Anyway, he ended up being a really good professor for my intro to animal science class. I learned so much from him, and he's definitely hard on the freshmen, but I think it ended up paying off in the long run because I learned a lot and I still remember a lot, even though it's been 3 years almost. So, and you know, he is pretty nice once you get to know him. But yeah, he's definitely one of those where you're kind of like first like, oh my gosh, this guy's like so hard. And the same is true for my intro to biology professor because she, like, if you were to meet her, you think, oh my gosh, this lady, like this sweet little demure old lady, you know, she's a vet. And then you get to her class and she walks in on the first day. And I'm over here, like, already, like, oh my gosh, you know, I got this, you know, you get the syllabi and you see all these rules and all the exams and projects and quizzes and everything that's due. And you're like, oh my gosh, you know, like, I don't want to get penalized for anything, or like, this is so overwhelming. And so I was like kind of dealing with that. Because we had syllabi in high school, but they weren't like this in depth or anything. And so I was like trying to adjust to that of like, oh my gosh, there's so much I got to remember. And I'm like struggling to write everything down. And then this lady walks in and she's like, okay, I just want to tell you, I can tell already within the first week who is going to do well in this class and who isn't. And everything like, I cannot be on the list. People who she thinks isn't going to do well. I have to do well. And so she, you know, flies through going over the syllabus and then jumps into lecturing on what is life and everything. And I remember being like, okay, Olivia, like, I know you were super shy in high school, but you have to participate. Like, this is college, you know? And so I'm sitting, you know, in the front of the class because I read some article about how, like, tips for success in college. And of course, one of them was sitting in the front of the classroom. So I always made sure to sit in the front of the classroom wherever I was. And anyway, she asked this question of like, okay, what's the smallest unit of life? And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to participate. Like, I know the answer to this question. So I raised my hand. And of course, it's the cell. And she's like, very good. And then she smiles at me and I'm thinking like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can get her on my good side. Because fun fact, when I worked at that vet clinic for the previous 8 months, we had a vet there who reminded me so much of this professor, like same personality and everything. And I ended up getting that vet on my good side, and not a lot of people liked her, and she did not like a lot of people at this clinic, but she really liked me for some reason. So I was like, I'm going to see if I can kind of use like the same tactics almost to like see if this professor will end up liking me. And so she did. There's a lot there that ended up happening that I'll talk about later, but even when I didn't do so hot on one of her exams, she still didn't hate me, which is big for her because she would make a lot of people cry. I'm not even kidding. Coming out of her office, because she would staple withdrawal forms to people's tests if they didn't do well. Or what else? Oh yeah, after our first exam in this class, she put everyone's grades on a graph. Well, she didn't put their names or anything, but put everyone's grades on a graph, and then drew a line through the middle of the graph and goes, okay, everyone who scored below this grade needs to drop this class. You're not going to make it. And it was this whole thing. And the crazy thing is, I'm like, why are you being so discouraging? Because I know several people who didn't do so well on her first exams, because obviously you're still adjusting to college. It's definitely a learning period, adjusting to college exams, especially hard biology classes. And yes, intro biology is hard. It's almost kind of like a weed out. Not as much of a weed out as like physics and OChem, but it definitely is a weed out. Like it's not a walk in the park for sure. But I know several people who didn't do so hot in that class, but are doing very well now, and they're very successful and getting ready to apply to vet school. So I don't know why she's so discouraging. Like, it's such a learning period. Like, you learn how to study well. It's not just something you're just automatically good at, you know. It takes trial and error sometimes. So, or a lot of the times. And, you know, honestly, this sounds so cliche, but genuinely, like, sometimes you do need to fail to succeed. And like, I've learned that myself of like, okay, I did do well in that class. But the next semester, that first exam got me good because she made a question that was, I think, worth 30 points, and I missed it. And that was really hard at first to deal with, of like, oh wow, this sucks. Like, I don't want to like get a D on my first exam for this semester, but you know, I did. And I'll just be honest with that. But getting that D taught me of like, okay, this isn't just some fluke. Like, I'm not just getting these A's on these other tests because she likes me or whatever. Like, I am genuinely smart and working hard for this class and this degree and to get to vet school. Like, I think that's what taught me, or getting that bad grade is what taught me that. Anyway, both her and the animal science professor both taught me a lot, and that sometimes it's good to be challenged, even your first semester. Like, I told people, oh, I have this professor and this professor together, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, good luck, you're gonna fail. Like, so many people told me that, like, that combo together, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's funny because neither of them are here anymore, but they both taught me a lot more than I think I would have learned that first semester if I had gotten easier professors, if that makes sense. So it pays off in the long run to get hard professors. It's not fun in the moment, but you learn to adapt, and you learn to how to study well, and you end up learning a lot more when the course is academically challenging and the professors are academically challenging. So I would say to you, if you have a hard class or a hard professor or teacher this semester that you're kind of dreading, like, I'm sorry, I know it's going to be hard, but you'll probably end up learning a lot more and be way better prepared for harder upper level classes in the future than you would have been if you had just taken the easy professor or the easy class. And I'm actually kind of glad I was challenging those classes because they are such a foundation to everything else that I was going to take in college. And I didn't realize that at the time, but they literally are prereqs for every other class that I was going to take. So I'm grateful for it now, but it was hard in the moment. Anyway, little advice for you guys if you are in the same boat. I've been there. I've gotten almost virtually every grade across the spectrum that you could get in college. And yeah, I've learned a lot. So maybe we'll do one section on, one episode on how failure taught me to succeed. I don't know, now it's just like all these things are coming back to me. Anyway, Yeah, little did I know everything I was getting into that first day of school. But you know, I got through it. We had our first animal science lab that day, which was basically just going over proper animal handling techniques. Oh gosh. And then I think, oh yeah, then I was like still like, oh, I can't do this. And I remember like crying in my car because that car, which I no longer have, tragically, not really super old, but that little silver RAV4 that I used to have got me through so much. Saw a lot of things for sure. Anyway, yeah, I remember sitting crying in my car, being like, I can't do this. Like, this is too hard. I just want to go be a vet tech. Like, I'll never be smart enough to be the vet, which literally was coming from nowhere. I genuinely don't know where I was getting that from because nothing had even happened yet. It wasn't like I failed some exam or got some really hard project or met some really mean people or something. Like, everyone was super nice and encouraging, and the professors, yeah, they seemed hard but not impossible. So I really don't know where that thinking was coming from. I think it's genuinely just imposter syndrome, which I still get a lot. um I've learned to control it better, but you know, it's still there. I think anyone who's in the STEM field in general, or just in a hard job or in a hard major, like, it's it's just a real thing. Like, you don't feel qualified for what you're doing, even though you've worked so hard to get there and you were smart enough to be there, or you wouldn't be there. Yeah, something that I've dealt with a lot. So anyway, sitting in my car, and then I thought, oh, I'm seeing on Instagram that there's all these pictures of people with like that first day of school sign. And I think my mentor sent out this thing in our like freshman orientation group chat of like, I go take your picture up at the Ford buildings with this first day of school sign. So I think, I'll do it. Screw it. I don't even, my friends are busy, but I'm going to go take my picture by myself with this sign. So I get up there and I'm thinking like, oh shoot, how am I going to do this? I'll take a selfie with the sign. Like, this won't be cringy at all. And lo and behold, the director of admissions walks out of his office because the setup is right in front of the admissions office. And it's the very guy who, I don't know if you remember from the last episode, wrote that card about me and at that honors event. And everything like, oh, this guy, you know, obviously it doesn't remember me or anything, but everything out of all the people, it could have been this guy. And then he looks at me and smiles and is like, oh, do you want me to take your picture for you? And I was like, sure, that'd be really nice. And so he got my picture for me, and lo and behold, I have my official first day of school picture from freshman year. And I'm wearing that stupid lanyard around my neck. And I want to cringe every time I look at it, but I also look at it and just smile because not only do I look completely different than I did in that picture, but also just like it serves as a good reminder of like just how far I've come. So anyway, that was kind of my first day. I don't think anything else really eventful happened that day. I did, I think, end up going on like a mini hike up on mountain campus to like kind of calm myself down. There's like a little trail. It's not a little trail. It's like 5 or 6 miles, but I didn't do the full thing. But there's this little trail past the old mill on mountain campus. It's kind of like one of our famous sites. So I think I ended up hiking a little bit there, but that kind of ended up being my kind of like debrief spot all throughout college. Whenever I was feeling like super overwhelmed or whatever, I would just drive up to the old mill, and there's always people there taking pictures, but I would just go on the trail and like walk and think for a while, and it's been a really good spot ever since. So yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, that was what I was going to tell you. One really good thing to do besides having like, I don't even know, good ways to decompress, to recharge, I think definitely have something to do to put your efforts and energy into outside of school. Like, that was so important to me, to have an outlet to do something besides school, so you're not just getting bogged down and stressed over every little thing with school all the time. For me, for a while, it was those hikes. It was going on drives, and Hazel can tell you it is still driving and hiking are still really big with me for that. Also, running is really good. Crocheting now is something I love to do too. And taking care of my dog has also been really nice. But just have something, whether it's a club, a sport, hiking, running, driving, or like whatever, have some hobby or something to do outside of school. Maybe not like a physically demanding or mentally taxing job, because that probably doesn't really help much, but something to put your efforts and energy into outside of school is really important, I think, and it kind of helps you stay balanced too. And honestly, just getting outside and exercising in general, like I can't even tell you how different I feel, and my mood improves so much when I actually get out and run and I'm outside in nature or with my dog or whatever, versus when I don't do that. And it literally, like, it changes your whole day. It changes your whole perspective a lot of times when you're feeling bogged down and stressed out. I promise you, sacrificing 20 minutes of studying to go for a run or a walk is so worth it in the long run, because your mind is going to be so much clearer. So, that I think is really important. I know what I'll talk about now. So, the first week of school, I was definitely overwhelmed the whole week. But I, calmed down. Oh, I went on lots of bike rides too, until my bike got stolen, which is a story for another time. um, but yeah, I went for lots of bike rides on biking trail. That was great. And I think, I met lots of new people. There's still lots of acquaintances that I met that week, but nothing like super crazy. I did learn eventually to calm down. I wish I could go back and just tell myself, calm the F down. Like, you're going to be fine, Olivia. You really are going to be fine. You're not going to drop out. You're not going to fail out. You're way smarter than you give yourself credit for. Like, relax. Anyway, that Saturday, we had this massive, like, I don't know, like slip and slide tarp thing that Campus Outreach puts on for all the students on Mountain Campus. There's this big hill, and they set up this massive tarp, and they put laundry detergent on it, so that you'd go down really fast. It'd have like those pool floats and all this stuff that you could just go down on, and it would be really fun. So I get there, and for a while I didn't want to go, and then Hazel convinced me to come up and join her and a few of her guy friends at this thing. So I'm like, I really don't want to go. Like, I was just sitting in this parking lot behind kind of the retreat center, that wind shape that kind of like run that whole mountain campus area. I was kind of sitting in this like tech parking lot behind the building, debating whether or not to go to this thing. And because I'm like, I don't know a lot of people going to this. None of my friends were going to it, but Hazel's like, no, yeah, come out, it'll be so fun. So I ended up going. First, I don't even know. I think I went on like a little hike or something, because I'm like, I don't want to face all these people. Like, it's just like a thing for me, and I'm sure it is for you too. Like, you get there and like you're by yourself, and you feel like everyone else is judging you for not having friends with you walking up to an event like this. That's been a thing for a lot of my college career. Anyway, so I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to go. It's college. I need to do things that are out of my comfort zone, and this is way out of my comfort zone, so I'm going to go to the stupid slip and slide and do it. And anyways, I get there, and thankfully see Hazel with a bunch of her friends, and I go up there, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this thing. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, waiting in line, and everyone's covered in mud, covered in grass, and people are bleeding, and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Oh, what the heck, it's college. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. We can do this. And anyway, I get up there, and they give me this swan tube thing. I'm sure you've seen like in pool commercials or something. And they like douse me in laundry detergent and send me flying down this hill. Well, the way physics works, momentum and gravity and velocity really just work wonders when you're going down a big hill that's really slippery. So I get thrown from this swan and tossed on the ground, and end up going past where the tarp ended, up over this slope, and roll into this ditch and just get completely covered in mud. Because we went over sharp grass too. I got all cut up all over my legs. Everything, like, oh yeah, this is so fun. And all these people are like, oh my gosh, look what happened to her, ha ha ha, like, so funny. Hazel's like, oh my gosh. And then of course, because the laundry detergent ended up having bleach in it, which is going to be a very important element in just a minute, my scratches burned like hell, like so bad. worse than it would have been, because the scratches already burned. Like, I think there's probably sawgrass or something that I ran over. It hurt so bad. The bleach definitely didn't help. And then Hazel's friends were like, "Oh yeah, come do it again." And so stupidly, covered in mud, I thought, oh, if I go down the second time, the water and the soap will wash off the mud. No, of course, it only made it worse. So go down again. This time, not on the Swan, and just thankfully I didn't go as far because I wasn't on this pool tube this time. But definitely still got beat up. Definitely still flew off the tarp, and everyone was flying off the tarp. The tarp was not long enough. Because the momentum, when you're coming down the hill, you're going to go a lot farther than I think a lot of people thought. So anyway, I get thrown again off this tarp, covered in mud, and then like got scratched all the way. Now before it was like my hip and thigh area. This time it was all the way from like my hips all the way up to my ribs. So ribs all the way to thighs was completely scratched up. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm not doing this again. So I told Hazel, I'm like, look, I'm done. Thank you for inviting me, but I'm going to go back and take a shower and see how bad the damage is. So make it back to Molam, showering in these lovely communal showers that we had, which the stalls were black. And thinking back, honestly, oh, that rhymed. I think they were black to hide all the mold, which they ended up like not hiding the mold very well, because you look on the ceiling and it's supposed to be white tile, literally covered in black mold, which is so gross looking back. And there's so many incidents with the Molam bathroom. I mean, you remember from last week that whole creepy stall. We had multiple guys in our bathroom, purposely trying to come back to the shower area because, of course, the cracks in the shower stalls weren't any better. Oh my gosh, so many things, so many throwbacks. Anyway, I'm in the shower and I look, and sure enough, after getting all the grass and mud off, which literally clogged the drain of the shower so bad, covered in that. Yeah, I literally had this massive scratch. I looked like someone had raked their nails down all, like my whole torso, so bad. And I thought, oh, this is like awful. I had to put like Neosporin on it, and I was like, yeah, we're done for the rest of the day. And anyway, time goes by and my friends are like, oh, come out to this like block party thing that our KCAB, which is like our student activities board, they were putting on. And so my friends convinced me to come to this thing, and we made little like stuffed animals. So as we go to that table, and I don't even know how to, like, I'm trying to remember. They had like, yeah, these little tables set up of different things like bead making or painting or stuffed animal making. And then like across the street, they had this like big foam party thing that they were going to do. They had like a bouncy house and a rock wall in the middle of the road. Like the whole thing was shut down. So anyway, meet my friends in front of the stuffed animal station. I still have my little wolf that I made. And, we had fun for a while. I think we went up making beads. We did the rock wall. The foam party was with those like foam noodle things, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to get hit by those or whatever. I don't know what's going on. It's like looks like a rager block party, and obviously that's not my thing. So if you can't tell already, not even the title of this podcast, but yeah, very much introvert, not one for big foam rager parties. So anyway, the party, whatever block party thing, was in full swing, and I get finished with the rock wall, and then I look around, I'm like, oh, there's storm clouds off in the distance. This is interesting. Let me just see if it's gonna pass over or if it's actually like coming towards us. So I was a big weather nerd, still am. That's been an ongoing thing since I was like 5. Didn't read children's stories. I read books on clouds. Yeah, that's another fun fact for you. Anyway, so I pull up my weather app, and I'm like, and I don't know if any of you have Apple Weather or whatever, but they have this thing where it'll show you kind of like the forecasted precipitation on like this bar graph. And so I look, and I'm like, oh, there's a huge spike in like 10 minutes that precipitation is coming to Rome. So I was like, guys, I think it's about to rain. I think we should head back to our dorms because I don't know what's going on here, but no one else seems to be paying attention to the massive thunder and lightning storm that seems to be heading right this way. But I don't want to get caught in that. So I'm going to head back to Molam, and I will see you all tomorrow. And I remember like jumping on my bike and booking it back to my dorm. And literally, when I like hid my bike under a tree because I'm like, I don't want this bike to get, completely rained on. I book it up the stairs and I literally just walk into the dorm room and I just hear this whoosh and all this rain just start pounding the window. And I thought, wow, I made it literally just in time. Crazy. And I thought it was weird because like, oh, I look around. I'm like, oh, wait, where's Hazel? Because, of course, me being like panicked, I was sitting at my desk for a while studying biology because we had a quiz like that Wednesday. And I think I can't fail my first like quiz in college. So everyone else is at this foam rager party on a Saturday night, and I'm sitting my biology flashcards. Please don't judge me. That was 3 years ago, and yeah, like I said, I've calmed way down from that. But anyway, also pro tip for any freshmen who are similar to me, one little quiz isn't going to make or break anything. So please don't sacrifice having like a fun time with your friends to go study on a weekend if it's not a life or death exam. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm sitting around studying stupid biology, waiting for Hazel to come back, being like, where is she? Finally, it's like midnight and she's still not back, but I thought, okay, I have church in the morning. Like, I should probably go to bed. Then I get up that morning, like 9 a.m. for church, and she's in her bed. Okay, good. She made it back. And I see this text from her being like, oh yeah, I'm really like not feeling well this morning. We're not gonna be able to go to church this weekend. Being like, okay, like hope you feel better. Went to church and think anything of it. Then I come back and she tells me, Olivia, yeah, I was in the hospital last night. And I'm like, what? I was like, what happened between the slip and slide to now? Like, Hazel, are you okay? Like, oh my gosh. Well, apparently, remember how I told you that there is bleach in the laundry detergent? And I honestly don't know how this didn't happen to me. But she and her friends would, go face first on the slip and slide right into the laundry detergent, which had a bunch of bleach in it. So bleach got in all their eyes and they had to go to the hospital and get them rinsed out. Otherwise, they could have had vision loss or scarring or anything else that can happen when literal bleach gets into your eyes. So that's how she spent her first weekend in college. They were there till 3 or 4 in the morning. I think maybe even longer. She could probably tell better than me. But from what I remember and seeing pictures, she's literally there in a hospital gown, getting her eyes flushed out with water in the middle of the night. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I'm glad she's okay. It could have been a lot worse. But like, what the heck, Barry? Why are you putting bleach in laundry detergent and then sending a bunch of kids down these, like, the slip and slide? Like, everyone's in swimsuits or like shorts. Like, that hurts your skin, let alone like getting cut up or getting in your eyes or anything else, potentially ingesting it. Like, I don't know. And I think they've changed it since. I haven't done the slip and slide since then to find out. I think it may be happening this weekend. I should just go for old time's sake, Anyway, I'm like, there's so many. You could use dish soap, laundry detergent without the bleach. Like, there's so many other options. I don't know. Anyway, or maybe just not use soap because the hill's so large that you really don't need it because you again get enough momentum, like you're sending everyone off the tarp because the tarp isn't long enough. I don't know, the whole thing is just kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah, that was my first weekend in college. Didn't get blackout drunk or sleep around or anything, but yeah, my roommate ended up in the hospital and I still have scars on my ribs and my thighs from the slip and slide. So anyway, so much fun, but I did escape a severe thunderstorm, so that was fun. I still don't know what the block party or the rock wall or the tables or anything looked like after it rained. I can't imagine it was good. My friends and I all left, but anyway, oh, I don't even know. The following weekend was actually funny because this girl that I met who would end up playing a much bigger role my spring semester of my freshman year. Let's see. I think we'll call her Isabel. Yeah, that's a good name for her. So, Isabel and I had been talking for like a good 2 months before school started, and I finally met up with her. I think like the weekend, no, like the Friday, the first Friday of classes. because we're both horse girls. So I met with her and then a bunch of her other friends, and she invited me to go to. That's right, because we met at Rage in the Cage, which is this. I don't know if I mentioned it last episode, but it's like this big party welcome event that they throw for the freshmen before the upperclassmen move in. So we met at that, and they invited me to the next weekend to go to this movie night with them in her dorm's common room. And so the funny thing is she was kind of like not really dating, but kind of talking to this guy at the time who would end up becoming one of my later roommates' boyfriends. Not Hazel, but one of my other roommates. And it's so funny hearing his perspective now versus her perspective at the time on this whole situation. Just funny foreshadowing. Anyway, so I thought, oh, what the heck? Like, I need to meet new people. Yeah, I'll go to this movie event. But I didn't know they were watching this really scary, kind of demonic horror movie. And if you know me at all, like that is the one genre of movie that I can't stand. Like I love psychological thrillers. I think they're interesting. Mystery movies. Like I love plot twists in movies and not being able to predict the end. But really like hardcore horror movies and really predictable Hallmark Christmas movies are like the two genres I can't stand. But I'll watch about basically anything else. So anyway, you get there and it's this really just gory, like graphic movie and everything. Like I really like don't want to like watch this at all. But like this girl and this guy are like together, and then they're like her other friends who were just kind of weird, and she's not friends with them anymore either. But I still see that they're on campus and being like all I can think about still this day is like this freaky horror movie. I can't even remember the name of the movie, but it was something about like this serial killer at a campground, and I love to camp, so like that didn't help either. So like that is my worst fear, like camping with my friends, is that like we're gonna get like hacked to death by some creepy guy, and that's literally what this film was. And so yeah, that was just so fun. Anyway, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go, but it was nice to meet all of you. And yeah, I was laughing with this guy like recently about it because I was like, oh my gosh, like this, I forgot about that whole event until like 2 months ago. Because I thought before, like, oh, the first time I met all these people was like the following January of my freshman year. But I forgot. I was like, oh my gosh, this movie night that scarred me for months afterwards. Not really, but like hated it. Was the first time I really met all these people, and then I got psyched out by this movie and didn't keep in contact with these people for months. Anyway, I have so many stories with Isabel that I will have to tell you about at a later date. But anyway, stay tuned. But anyway, I thought that was like a little funny snippet to include. Let's see what else happened. I honestly, there's so many things that I think I'm just going to save for later episodes because it would be like a 3-hour episode if I were to share them all right now. So yeah, I think what we're gonna do is get into the mini stories. Oh, but one last piece of advice for all the freshmen or everyone who's starting over, or starting in a new place, or whatever, or even just anyone in who's in school in general right now. My mom has this quote under like we have like this Gilmore family values and beliefs thing that she has posted in our kitchen. And one of the bullet points that I think is really good, that's really stuck with me for a long time, is like, do your best, but it's okay if you're not the best. Like you're not the top of the class or top of the grade or valedictorian or whatever, but as long as you're putting in your best effort, that's what really matters. And I didn't realize how important that little snippet, a little quote would end up being until I got to those really hard upper level science classes that I wasn't maybe so passionate about. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not the top of the class anymore, but I genuinely am putting my best effort and I am trying and I'm not failing. It's just like not what my standard, what I'm used to. I remember thinking like, okay, that's okay that I'm not the best at physics. Like I don't want to be a physicist. So, I think, but you know, I'm still putting in my best effort and I'm still doing well enough for the vet school standard. And so I think like I need to just be okay with that. Like, I'm not going to kill myself trying to be the top of the class all the time. So yeah, just remember that, like, as long as you're putting in your best effort, that's what really matters, and not trying to kill yourself over being number one or valedictorian or the top or whatever. You're worth so much more than that. And you're worth way more than your grades. I totally wish I could go back and tell myself that in high school and freshman year of like, yes, grades are important, especially if you want to go on to grad school or vet school or med school or whatever, but they're not everything, and they're not worth literally like sacrificing everything else in your life to maintain them. Because at the end of the day, when you graduate college, when you graduate high school or grad school or whatever, when you look back, you're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I wish I spent more hours in the library studying because I didn't make a 95 on that exam. I made an 89 instead of a 95. Like, oh, if only I could go back and just get those 2 more hours of studying in so I could get that 95. Like, I don't even remember what I made on most of my exams last year, let alone freshman year. What I remember is like the moments I made with my friends. When I took the time to take a break and go out and have fun with people. That's the real important parts, and the memories you make in the relationships you form. Like, that's what's important in the long run, not your grades or even your job, honestly. Just think about when you're on your deathbed, you're like, man, I wish I spent more time in the office. I wish I just worked a little bit harder to get that promotion. But no, you're gonna be like, oh wow, I wish I spent more time with the people I really love. So I don't even know why I'm thinking about deathbeds. I'm literally 21. Anyway, this got a little bit morbid. I was not expecting that today. Wow, I'm just in a mood today. I don't even know. It's been a week and it's only Tuesday. Well, Wednesday for you guys, but anyway. Yeah. That's my little snippet today. Don't think about deathbeds, please. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit and get into my little mini stories. Hopefully end on a more positive comedic note. So, I don't even want to rehash this cringe, but you know what? There's going to be so much more cringe in the upcoming episodes. I need to just like warm up to it now. Okay. Well, I think we'll start with accidentally dyeing my hair orange when I was 13. Yeah, fun fact, I have not seen my entire head full of my natural hair color since I was 13. Now there's been times where the majority of my hair is my natural color, but there's still dye at the root, not the roots, at the ends. I'm almost a professional hair dyer at this point. Like, I have done it so often. Yeah. So I don't even know where to start with this. Anyway, I get back from the speech trip with my friend, right? And I thought, oh, it'd be so fun to have blonde highlights in my hair. And I go to CVS and I get one of those stupid box dye highlighter things. But it's like I didn't realize this until I opened the box, but it's like those cap highlights, which is like the scourge of every hairstylist. And like me looking back, just cringing, where you pull random pieces of hair through this cap and then you like bleach those parts and you just get these random highlights, which is not really a good technique. You know, it's not, it doesn't end up looking good. Anyway, did that, and it was kind of a disaster. I think, but I mean, it ended up being fine, kind of. Anyway, that of course wasn't enough for me. So I decide like a week later, hey mom, I want to be like completely blonde. And she's like, I don't know why my mom even like not encouraged it, but like put up with it. And I think like, she's like, you really want to do that yourself? And then we asked the hairstylist and it was going to be like $300. So she's like, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it yourself. So, this whole thing taught me a very valuable lesson to just pay for the more expensive professional procedure than attempting something yourself when you have no idea what you're doing. Now, I've learned a lot from it, and I do dye my hair myself now, and I've been doing it for years, and I kind of know what I'm doing now. But don't trust 13-year-olds with a box of hair dye. Just PSA. So anyway, she takes me to CVS and gets me this cheap Clairol blonde hair dye But what I didn't realize, and I don't know if any of you realize this if you're in the world of hair dye, but the way hair dye works is you have to have like, I don't know, a lighter color than what you're dyeing, or else the hair dye won't work. And I don't have time to get into volume developers and all of that. But that plays a role too, like what how powerful the dye is, the base of the dye, versus hair bleach and stuff. And so I didn't realize like the blonde that I wanted, I would have to bleach my hair for. And I didn't realize that hair dye and hair bleach are two separate things. Also, hair bleach is not the same as like the bleach in the laundry detergent that I was talking about earlier. I've had people my age asking me that. So no, do not put Clorox bleach on your hair. That will burn your hair off. Hair bleach is very different. So anyway, I get dye instead of bleach, which looking back really only deposits like hair color on top of my really would only like deposit hair color on top of the color you already have. So if you have brown hair and you put blonde hair dye on top of that, it's not going to show up hardly at all. So that's why if you want to say like dye your hair blue and you have dark brown hair, you can't just put the blue hair dye on top of your dark brown hair. It's not going to show up. You have to first bleach your hair, make it blonde, and then it will show up. Kind of like, you color yellow over brown. It's not going to show up. Like you have to have, it shows up, color show a lot better when you have white paper, right? I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I get this blonde hair dye, and the way this cheap box dye works is that they put in like stronger developer than what you would need normally for hair dye. And I don't know why they do this, but they do. And so that's why if you're like, I would say going from light hair to dark hair, you probably don't want to, well, really don't use box dye in general, but you really don't want to use cheap box dye, because what it will end up doing is using like similar volume developer, like that you would use to bleach your hair, you would use to make your hair darker, and that can end up further damaging your hair. So anyway, in any hair process, damages your hair, which I learned, so many times over the years. So also I'm not a professional stylist. This is just stuff that I've learned over the years. So anyway, I got this box dye, and that developer was just powerful enough to lift my hair a couple of shades, because I'm pretty sure it was 20 volume, and there's 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume that are kind of sold in stores. And so I would say like 20 volume is going to lift your hair about 2 or 3 shades. 40 volume can lift your hair, depending on what kind of bleach base you use, can be like from 5 to 8 shades I've seen. That really just depends on what bleach you're mixing it with. But anyway, 20 volume was just enough to lift my light brown hair to a burnt orange. So when I went to put this hair dye on my head, it did not look like the nice, pretty blonde in the picture. No, it looked like, I don't even know, like a trombone, or the Tennessee Vols color, something like that. It wasn't like a cross between the two. I think my hairstylist, when I went to go get it fixed, called it brassy orange. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. And everything like, oh no, what did I just do to myself? I honestly don't know how it wasn't worse, like bright orange, because looking back, like it definitely should have been way more it was definitely brassy, but it should have been way more brassy than it was. So like it was enough to where you would look at me and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely not her natural hair color. Like something's off, but not enough where you're like, turn in the streets like, oh my gosh, that's a really bad hair job. But still, I had school in a week, and I was starting 8th grade. If you know anything about 8th graders, it's like peak middle school. Like, yeah, you can't look like a fool in front of your peers. Like, you have to be, with the in crowd, and like want everyone to like you. I mean, you always do, but like it's way bigger deal in middle school. And so, yeah, I was like, Mom, I can't go to school with this hair. And the stupid thing is, I still put it on Instagram and being with the caption like, change is good or something. And I got it. That picture to this day, like, literally haunts me. Hazel has a picture of it, and she's like my only berry friend who has a picture or will ever have a picture of it. I don't know why I sent her that. I sent her that picture along with some very other questionable Snapchat pictures from middle school, which I'm not even gonna let you guess what they were about, but it was bad. Ugh. Anyway, it got even worse when my roots started growing in because then you have dark roots with this brassy orange hair color, and it was just completely awful. And I'm like, I cannot go to school like this. So my mom calls up this hairstylist who just goes over and like shakes her head like, oh my gosh, what did this idiot 13-year-old get herself into? And goes, okay, well, if you want to fix, we have to do color correction and all this stuff. Well, color correction, I'll clue you in now, is a lot more expensive than just going to the hairstylist and getting your hair dyed professionally in the first place or bleached or whatever. So if you're planning on bleaching or dyeing your hair and you don't know what you're doing yourself, go to the hairstylist because you will save yourself, I'm not kidding you, hundreds of dollars if you just bite the bullet and go there in the first place than attempting it yourself when you don't know what you're doing and then end up screwing it up, because it ended up costing almost $500 to get my hair fixed. And it didn't even look good. It was still too blonde, too yellow. And looking at pictures now, I'm like, oh, it looks so like it's like sunshine yellow. So it's not brassy orange anymore. It's sunshine yellow. And like looking at pictures of myself, like I do have a neutral skin tone, so I can pull off blonde hair and dark hair pretty well. Or new like ash tone versus warm tone pretty well. However, unless you're like spray tan, I don't know, Miami Peach Babe blonde, sunshine yellow doesn't really look good on most people. And so looking at these pictures of myself, not to mention I'm still pretty pale, but I was like really pale back then. And so looking at these pictures, like this pale girl with this like yellow hair, it was so bad. And like we had, not only did we have like our, no, I think by the time, actually, yeah, by the time we took our like professional 8th grade pictures, I think my hair had been changed back to brown, but my first day of school pictures, my lab picture, everything else had this stupid yellow hair in it. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as the brassy orange, but it's forever immortalized anyway. Gosh, this hair was so bad. I don't know if there's like a way to upload photos to this specific episode, but if there is, I'll insert a picture of this before and after, because I mean neither are good, but like middle school, I don't even know. Anyway, yeah, that was one thing where there's so many stories from middle school. I'll have to share them all one day on this podcast, because I thought high school was bad. You thought college was bad. Middle school, yeah, I think even worse. Private Christian school that was super strict, you can imagine. Okay, well, the next one was last year. My roommates are going to kill me for this. Everything's fine now, by the way, and Hazel set the microwave on fire multiple times, cooking these frozen vegan patties, which literally make me want to hurl. No hate if you eat them, I don't know. I don't know how you can, because I did try them, by the way, I'm not just speculating, and they're not good, especially if they're microwaved. Like, if they're cooked in like a frying pan, maybe, but the way she made them was just like, ugh. And then, yeah, anyway, set the microwave on fire multiple times. So, not the only one to have done this. Almost probably set smoke alarm off multiple times. But I got this is like probably the third week of school, junior year. And I got a Chick-fil-A sandwich from our food court. And by the time I got back to my room and was having lunch, and because I always get lost track of time when I'm like doing homework, look up, oh shoot, it's 40 minutes later, I should have eaten lunch. I'm like, oh shoot, my sandwich is cold. So I thought, oh, I'll put it in the oven on like the 100-degree heat setting, like just to keep it warm it up. I'm not baking the thing. Anyway, I couldn't find a tray, so I just, like an idiot, put the sandwich and its paper directly on the oven, which never do this. I should have known at 20 not to do this, but clearly still an idiot. So anyway, 5 minutes later, I go to check on it, and oh my gosh, the whole oven is smoking, and there's sparks on the ground. I'm like, like, shit, oh my gosh, what? So I like grab this thing and like toss it out of the oven. There's smoke everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there are people. Thankfully, no one was in the townhouse, but I'm like, they're gonna walk back in and be like, oh my gosh, why is there sparks flying and smoke coming out of the oven? Olivia, what did you do this time? And so I'm like frantically trying to like get the smoke out, like trying not to set off the alarm because if you set off the alarm, the sprinklers are probably gonna go off and then like all hell breaks loose. So I'm like trying so hard. I'm like, no, like just stop it, please. Um, yeah. And anyway, uh, sandwich is burned. Everything was burned. The paper's black. It had like fused with the sandwich, and I just it was so bad. Thankfully, I didn't even contemplate eating it. Like I did throw it out. Um, but yeah, that was a fun day. And then yeah, I'm gonna clearing that out, and then I think a couple hours later, my roommates come back and like, why does the kitchen kind of smell like smoke? And I'm like, nothing happened at all. Cause I'll tell you, burnt like foil paper smells awful. Like it's really bad. Like they've like, I'm sure you all have gotten a Chick-fil-A sandwich before, but they like line the inside of the bag with like this metal foil thing, and that when it burns, does not smell pretty. So it almost smelled like burning hair. It wasn't good. Anyway, uh, yeah, just so you know, like not just freshmen make idiot mistakes, upperclassmen do too. So oh my gosh. And that wasn't even the first kitchen I lived in. I mean, Australia, I didn't even cook hardly at all because that kitchen was like a biohazard. But anyway, um, I have to do like multiple podcast episodes on Australia. Oh my gosh, I have so many stories. I'm so excited for all this, you guys. Like, I think it's like a good, almost like therapy session, just telling all these stories to you guys. I don't even know. And by the way, while I'm still thinking of it, I should have said this at the beginning, but thank you all so much for all of the love that you've shown this podcast already. Like, I literally expected maybe one or two people to listen to this, and there have been hundreds already, which I know is still nothing. Um, but seriously, like, thank you for those of you who've bothered to listen to this whole thing, because it'll tell me if people like actually listen to the full episode, and a lot of people have. So thank you. And not even in America. Like there are people from the Philippines and the UK and Italy listening to this, and I don't even know why, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And it's only gonna get better from here, I promise. I feel like this episode's at least a little bit more interesting than the last one, and I don't even know, but I'm just blown away already. So thank you. Hopefully this will grow even more. That'll be really exciting. And yeah, I really appreciate it. But I don't even know. I'm just really grateful and excited to share all my stories with you because it's almost like a therapy session, except you guys actually get some laughs out of it. So, anyway, okay. Well, I think, let's see what the next story should be. Oh, yeah. We'll do the mermaids. So, this is like so embarrassing, but you know, there's so many more embarrassing moments to come. Might as well just spill this one now. So, I was really into this mermaid show when I was like 10 called H2O. I'm sure you all have heard of it. It's from Australia. It's actually what got me interested in Australia in the first place. Yeah. So basically, it's like these three teenage girls that turn into mermaids when they touch water, right? And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my own mermaid tail and like be a real mermaid because I used to like be like I want to have special powers. I want to be able to like touch water and turn into a mermaid. Like that sounds so fun. Oh my gosh, like every 10-year-old, whatever. Literally dragged my mom to the fabric store to get this like waterproof leather type fabric. I got waterproof paint and painted this fabric. Well, first of all, I cut it and like measured myself and made this whole thing, made a legit tail with this fabric and duct tape, and painted the whole thing, got these sequins and like applied them like they were scales on this tail, and then was like, I'm so excited to like swim in this thing. Spoiler alert, it did not work. I literally taped myself to this tail and it still fell apart in the water. So, just so fun. The worst part though was like a few years later. This leads into my next story. One of my first musicallys that I ever made, which, is the precursor to TikTok, which I'm sure you all know. I hope you all know because that makes me feel really old if you don't know what Musical.ly is. Um, anyway, my brother and I used to make all these really cringy musicallys back in the day. And oh my gosh. Anyway, one of the first ones I ever made, besides my Orbeez one, which that was another phase that I went through for a while. I went through lots of weird phases. We'll get into that in a later podcast episode. But one of the first ones I made, besides the Orbeez one, was me dancing to the theme song of H2O and transforming into a mermaid with that stupid tail that I annoyingly saved from a couple years before. Yeah, that was one of my first ones, and it's still on my Musical.ly TikTok account. Obviously, it's privated now. Yeah, those videos are gonna burn in hell before anyone sees them. Oh my gosh, like that one. There's a lot of cringe on this TikTok Musical.ly account. Actually, I'm just gonna pull up a couple for reference. For myself. There's a lot, but I think that one truly takes the cake. There's another one of me. I hung up my Eno in our guest room at my old house at the time. Hung up my Eno above the guest bed and made this music of me just doing hand motions to the Airplanes song. Oh my gosh, that was really bad. That was one of my first ones I made as well. Oh my gosh, my last one I made was let's see, when was ew, what was I doing? April of 2020. Yeah, I'm not even looking at that. Probably some quarantine thing. Ew. Oh, I don't even want to look at this. Before that, it was 2017, right when we moved into our current house. Oh my gosh, my hair. I did musicallys. And not only do we have the burnt orange hair with my roots growing out as one of them. Oh my gosh. No, to make this worse, okay? Because I also did these musicallys in wigs, okay? I did this blonde wig. I did it in a pixie cut green hair wig. We're not talking about any of that. The worst is, and y'all are never going to see these videos, so it's fine. I'll just describe them. Describing them is awful enough already, but if I had to show them, oh gosh, I would rather jump off a cliff than show anyone these videos. But the fact that they were once live on this page is what gets me, because thankfully it says like 3 people have ever watched them, which is good, because I went through and privated. I mean, probably like 200 I went through and privated once I grew up enough to realize this was all awful. 10 people saw that. Oh. Well, you know what? The fact that I don't even remember it, hopefully none of them do. Definitely memorable though, because I used to do these Q&A things where I'd put on my, I don't even remember how Musical.ly worked, honestly, at this point. It's been like 8 years. But I'd put these like questions, like, oh, ask me a question, or those like stupid things that middle schoolers do. Like, oh, ask me a question, and they'll do a Q&A, like you're some famous celebrity or something. And I did these Q&A sessions like 4 in a row, instead of, doing like a Musical.ly dance of just me answering stupid questions. And a couple of them I flat out lied on, and I don't even want to listen to these anymore. But one of them is like, can you dance? What's your favorite subject in school? I don't even want to know Oh, that's what it was. When they said, can you dance? I made up this whole story about like how I was some like professional dancer or something, because I did ballet for 2 years past the age of 5. So, oh gosh. These are so awful. I had this stupid like red, like bright red Boston cupcake shirt, and I'm wearing that with my burnt orange hair. It looks, not to mention my face as 13-year-old wasn't really let's say cute. This is pre-dental surgery, so my teeth are just awful. Oh, that'll be a up and coming episode, I think. My teeth, because that's like a whole thing. Oh gosh, these are so awful. Ew, what are my captions? Hashtag my musically tunes. Oh gosh, Olivia. Who's your favorite teacher at school? What is your favorite ice cream and why? Do you like blonde hair? Ew, who are these people asking these questions? I see your monsters. What the hell are these captions? I can't believe I'm even reading this to you guys. It's so bad. Oh yeah, here it is. Ask me questions and I will answer. From August 20th, 2016. Ew. Why did 10 people view that? Who's at the cheer level 132? Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, these are awful. So bad. Oh my gosh, I want to die. Ew, that's what my room looked like. Guys, you forget, okay, like what your room looked like in middle school. I'm sure like I knew like I remember some aspects of it, but holy crap, like looking at the details, because like I can see in the background what this room looked like. And I haven't lived in this house, granted, mind you, for like 8 years. Oh my gosh. Guys, I had these, like those label stickers that you can buy at the office store for like address labels or whatever. I It looks like I got like 100 of those and drew a bunch of random crap on them and then spelled out the word Livy on my ceiling. That's what I'm seeing right now in the background of this musically TikTok thing. And I have my theater posters in the background too. That's just great. Ugh, I can't even watch this. That's so bad. Oh, I can't. I don't know how my mom actually killed me. Why do I have like 200 label stickers on my ceiling? Oh my gosh. Oh, and we have a canvas picture of my name over my bed, but it's not even centered. Like the frame isn't centered, and my name isn't centered on the frame. So if anyone has OCT, this would just be a nightmare. It's not even my name. It's like Livy, which is what I used to go by. Oh, Olivia, your hair is so bad. The caption The caption is you think I'm crazy for agreeing to bleach my hair. That is too good. Oh, I remember this one. Okay, guys, this one is like from this app called Funimate, which I don't even what. And it's basically like these weird edits that you can make. Like you can make yourself look like what's the word? Like inverted or put strobe light effects in or like all those weird things. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I remember filming this because right after I filmed this weird musically thing, I went to Lake Lanier Island's water park with my friends, and then got foam in my eyes, ironically, at the wave pool and had to go home. So, oh my gosh. I just found this with one of my friends who I'm actually still friends with. I should send this to her. This is so funny. Oh gosh. It's funny because this girl's always saying like, "Oh, I've never like, I feel like I'm still the same. I never grew up." Oh, this is she. I should send this to her because she's definitely grown up a lot. Like this is just proof. I mean, who doesn't from 13 to 21? But ew, I'm doing a one. I don't want to sit still and look pretty song. Oh, this is awful. I can't believe I'm going over this with you guys. Ugh, what in the heck? Oh, these are so bad. No. I just found the worst one. I know I've described like a lot of really bad ones. But no, guys, this one takes the cake because not only is it this like really cringe, just over the top disaster. I don't even want. Oh, the sound's been removed for copyright. Okay, I don't even know what the sound is. Okay, but just what I'm doing is like so suggestive, and I didn't even understand this at the time. Like I'm literally. I don't even know how to describe it. It like starts with me doing peace signs, and then like it almost looks like I don't even know. Like making the heart, and then like I don't even know. Like posing in this weird way. It looks even worse without the audio. I don't even know like how to describe it, but like the worst disaster with this whole video, okay, is like I don't even. Oh, it looks like I'm slashing myself. Okay, this is really not good. Okay, but then there's this is supposed to end on a comedic note. Oh, okay, but the worst part about all of this, and I don't think that's what I have no idea what I know it's not what I'm doing. It just looks really bad. What am I saying? It's just so much worse without the audio. Okay, but the worst part about all of this, who was Bucky Barnes' life? Oh my gosh, Bucky's before it even existed. Okay. Anyway, the worst part about all of this is my hair, okay? Because I also had the burnt orange hair at this point, but I'm um, not even the fact that it's the burnt orange hair, it's the way that my hair is styled in this video because I put it up in a ponytail, but then I left like chunks of it out framing my face, but my hair was like shoulder length at the time, and then I had layers to my chin. So it's like these chin bob layers that aren't styled properly framing my face. It just looks so bad. I don't even. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll do like. Oh yeah, here's the green wig one. Me in like a bob pixie cut green wig from my theater production of James and the Giant Peach, which I will definitely be doing an episode on later because I was a theater kid at one point. I hate to admit that. What am I doing? Again, the sound has been removed, so I have no idea, but this is really bad. So when there's a killer in your house, oh my gosh. What am I doing? It's like some weird Ew. Okay, I can't even look at this. The context for this one is like I don't even know what, again, I don't know what the audio says, but it's like this person pretending to like invade their house. I did it with my best friend at the time, and then I put heart kissy face knife at my friend's name. So that's great. Ew. Okay, that one's no. I know I keep saying everyone is worse than the last one, but this one actually still has the audio to it, and I want to actually throw up. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. Okay, the caption for this one, I'm not even going to describe it, okay, because this is when I still had the cap highlighter hair. Oh, Olivia, like, oh, my teeth are so jacked too. I feel like every 13-year-old is like this, but also, like, what am I doing? This is awful. I forgot the fact that people knew me when I was this age. I don't know how my mom put up with me. I genuinely don't. I will have to go over so many stories from middle school because my mom literally deserves like patron saint of the year award because she put up with so much for me, including this. I literally captioned this one. I don't have DNA. I have DN Slay. So I promise I'm not this bad anymore, guys. Like, genuinely. Oh my gosh. Ew. Okay, this one's bad too. I'm doing a TikTok, musically, to Feel This Moment with Pitbull and Christina Aguilera, which, if you don't know, is about BDSM. So, yeah, definitely didn't know that when I was making this video, and we'll just, leave it. I think we'll just. Oh my gosh, I'm doing like so many to these sex songs that I had like no idea. What am I wearing? Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, for this one, I like put on a tank top, but I wanted to make it into a crop top because my mom wouldn't let me wear crop tops at the time. So I was like improvising, but instead of like, I don't know, tucking like the shirt, like bottom part up, I tucked the top part of the shirt into my bra, and you can totally see that. Oh my gosh. They just get worse. Like progressively worse. Oh my gosh. People knew me when I was this age. Oh my gosh. This is a time. Oh my gosh. Well, I think I can't take any more. I genuinely can't. So, I'm trying to find the mermaid one. Like, I'm going through all this cringe to find the mermaid. Okay. I'm doing a song to S&M by Rihanna in a shirt that says "Color Me" on it. So, from Victoria's Secret. So that's great. Olivia, what are you doing? Like, I'm asking for pedophiles to like watch this stuff, and I had no like. I'm sure I didn't know what I was doing. Oh my gosh, my brother and I. Okay, that's great. Yeah, there's one where my brother like walks through the window with his BB gun and pretends to shoot me dead. Yeah, I don't think I realized the gravity of any of this when I was making these videos, obviously. This is really bad. Oh, and I did all of these in my school uniform. Oh, with my school logo on it. This is bad. Oh, this is really, I'm like doing, not only am I doing these in my school uniform, I'm sitting in the in my house over my bed, and it's very obvious that I'm like in an doing these dances, and I should have just fallen out of the onto the floor, because that would have been better than this disaster. Oh my gosh. What am I doing? Like, I remember oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, so I like pretend to like oh my gosh. My brother gets water from a cup and pretends to spray it on me, and then I'm like laying on the bed with this duct taped mermaid tail. Oh guys, if you thought it was bad before, some of them are just really just awful, but this one is just so cringe that it's like oh, there was a way to show you this video without completely dying of embarrassment, I would. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so bad. You know what? I thought I was cringe sometimes now, but this is so encouraging, because I can look back at this and be like, oh, listen, I'm not so bad now. I didn't film myself duct taped in a mermaid tail that I made myself when I was 10 on my bed. So that's nice. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is can only take so much, What is this caption? Okay, I promise you this is the last one, because I genuinely can't take anymore. When you are murdered and a stranger walks by, hashtag Christian Del Rosso. What am I? Oh my gosh. My friend's brother came over and was the random stranger walking by as my brother pretends to murder me with a fake knife. Okay, there's a lot of murder ones in here. This is just weird. Yeah, okay, we're done. But anyway, not only am I never on TikTok now and don't really have any videos anyway, yeah, you'll never see any of this because it's private. I have over 300 private videos. And I know there are more that I went through and deleted about 5 years ago because they truly just made me sick. So who knows what those were. These are pretty bad. I have no idea what the ones were that were so bad they made me delete them. So, you know what? Oh, I promised to tell you all about taking my dog tubing on the lake. Well, I think we'll end it with that. Because I don't want to end it off with cringe from when I was 13. Okay. Well, so yeah, we had this boat club that my parents unfortunately canceled last year, very tragically. Because we're all gone in college now. But basically, how it worked is that my parents would just sign up to take a boat out for the afternoon, and you pay like a monthly fee to go, I think, like up to like 8 times a week out whenever you wanted on these boats. And so we had some pet friendly ones, and one weekend I took a couple of my friends and my family, and we all went boating, and we decided to take my dog. And at the time we had this tube, because there's like the tubes where you can lay down and like hold onto the handles, and then there's the tubes you can sit in. Some of them you sit like on a bench, but this one, it was kind of like these grooves dug out of the tube, and you kind of like sit inside the tube. And I don't forget what happened, but I think my brothers destroyed that one because they would love to like race each other and fight in the tube. So who knows what happened to that one. But anyway, at the time we had this one tube, and yeah, you kind of like you're sitting in it. So I thought, oh my gosh, well, Skip, my dog, loves the water, and like he's always swimming around. We have a life vest for him, and I don't know what Spencer would be like, but he's asleep on my couch right now. I'm sure you all heard him barking earlier. If you didn't, that would be amazing. Because I'm still trying to figure out this whole audio thing. But anyway, that'd be a fun thing actually. I might take Spencer to the river and see what he would do. I have no idea. But anyway, Skip loves the water, and so I thought, oh my gosh, what if he put his life jacket on him and take him tubing? Like, obviously I'll have his he'll be tied to me, so if something happens, I won't go super slow. Um, so they don't get separated or anything. This is probably illegal. I don't know if I should even be putting this on here, but anyway, I promised you, like, as a future vet, like, I would never do anything to jeopardize my animal's health or safety. I was with them the whole time. We were very safe. We went very slow. It's nothing like what you would go tubing with the 2 people in the tube. Let's just put it like that. We like kind of just like dragged through the water, you know. But he looked like he had such a fun time. Like, he was genuinely enjoying it. You know, he was in my lap the whole time in this seat, but it was just so cute. And like looking back at those pictures of just like, I don't know, that was like one of the times and moments where I was like genuinely so happy. I don't think there's anything better than like tubing with your dog on the lake. And I don't know, like that dog just, I've taken him to Barry a few times. He is like, I don't know, ride or die dog. Spencer will get there. He's got some training to do, but like Skip, everyone loves Skip now. He used to be crazy, but he's calmed down a lot now that he's 8. And, anyway, that's such a fun dog. But I just remember like there's so much dog hair in the tube afterwards. That dog sheds like there's no tomorrow. Like just he's a black dog, and literally like the whole part of the tube was just covered. Like it looked black. It was supposed to be white, and it was literally black, just covered in dog hair. So funny. But anyway, yeah, he's such a fun dog, and that was like so fun. One of my like more memorable moments tubing on the lake. Especially with that boat club, you know, I learned to drive a boat during that time. Learned to not just chicken out and quote unquote fall off the tube every time my dad would go too fast. Because I used to do this thing like and I've gotten better. Like I admit I'll never be like the most adventurous thrill seeker when it comes to amusement park rides or tubing or like anything that involves anything like that, but I've gotten out there. I've been skydiving, I have done more not extreme things, but like I've done more adventurous things now. But let's just say when I was in like high school, and even like mostly before, but definitely in high school, if my dad or like whoever was driving the boat would go too fast, I would just let go and fall off the tube because I didn't want to like keep going when he was going fast. And it took a while for me to even trust anyone else driving the boat when I was in the tube as well. Because my mom used to tell me these stories about like her friends, like her husband, my dad's friends, would do like donuts in the boat, and then like the way like it works. I don't know if I'm sure you all have seen like people tubing on a lake before, but like the tube will come around like the side of like to the front of the boat if you spin around like that. And you really like obviously when you come off the wake, it's really bumpy and choppy as well, so that can be like hard to stay on. But yeah, like I think multiple times when she would go tubing when she was younger, yeah, the tube would like come around the front of the boat, or she would get kicked off. And like my dad said, there was one time she literally did a cartwheel across the water because his friend did it too rough. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I was always worried something like that would happen to me, and so that's why I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. But still here, I'm still alive, I'm still fine. I don't love being crazy on the tube because you always like, I don't know, I just hear horror stories and you think like that's gonna happen to you every time. Anyway, tubing is fun. It's even more fun with your dog. Would highly recommend. Anyway, this has gone on a lot longer than I thought it would. I didn't really know we were going to take this episode today, but I'm glad. Hopefully y'all got some good laughs and a little bit of advice from me with college. Thank you all again so much for listening. I'll keep you updated on school. I don't think it's going to be as hard as last year. Actually, I know it won't be because I'm not taking physics. I saw both my physics professors yesterday, and I was like, oh, they're very nice people. They genuinely are. They're not like my freshman year professors I was talking about. Like they both seem like genuine, very nice people. I just hate the subject. I'm sorry. And I know they can't help that, but like, I'm glad someone likes it, because someone needs to be good at physics and understand physics and like physics. But that person is just not me. So anyway, All right. I think that's where I'll end it today. I've got schoolwork to do now, tragically. My brain is not in school mode at all. I don't know if any of you all are feeling the same way, but I am not in school mode and I have got a lot of things I need to finish up and or need to do and finish up. Vet school applications being the first one. But yeah, I'm just not in the mood at all. I'm like, oh, I want to do like anything but work right now. The fun part's going to be in about 4 weeks when I have 3 exams back to back to back. Basically on the same day. So not looking forward to that. And I need to start studying for that in a couple weeks. Because unlike freshman year me, the me of now is taking time to do other things besides just studying for things that are happening not over a month away, but like almost a month away. And studying a little bit at a time will be a lot better than studying lots and lots and lots over and stressing over it I feel like if overstudying's a thing, I did that freshman year, especially first semester, especially like the first 2 months of freshman year, I would say, first semester. Yeah, obviously don't cram at the last minute either, but don't spend your entire college career studying either. Like there's a checks and balances there, like studying a little bit every day is good. But please make time to do other things. It's very good to be an overachiever and to try hard, but as always, everything in balance. Please don't overdo it and don't kill yourselves. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Best of luck with all of your school, career, job adventures, whatever it may be. Best of luck until I see you next week. And yeah, wish Spence and I a good rest of the week. I'll be sure to let you all know how it goes. I'm going to go take him on a little hike right now and decompress and take my own advice because, yeah, these upper level science classes still aren't a joke. Yeah, they definitely, I do have a good foundation, but obviously still have work to do, but I'm not going to get overwhelmed right now. I'm going to go and take him for a hike and relax in nature because I think that's a good thing to do. So, all right, y'all, I will see you next Wednesday. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Introvert's Guide to the College Roller Coaster Ride. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a positive review and share with your friends.